The Mammoth Lakes area is packed full of awesome hikes, and the great thing is they don't all have to be strenuous. In today's video, we're going to go over 9 beautiful beginner hikes in and around Mammoth Lakes. You can find full-length videos for each of these trails in the description below, and we'll be starting off today's list at the Convict Lake Loop Trail. This trail is 2.5 miles long with 180 feet of elevation gain. It's rated as easy and it takes about an hour to complete. This hike will take you around the perimeter of Convict Lake. It offers you gorgeous views of the lake and towering mountains. There are also several places along the trail where you can get to secluded beaches, so be sure to bring lunch with you. This is pretty much the perfect beginner trail because it is really easy to follow and you're going to see some people along the way, so if you get into trouble, help shouldn't be too far away. This trail is absolutely gorgeous year-round, but it gets taken to another level when the fall foliage shows up. We went up to see the fall colors last year, and Convict Lake ended up being one of the most impressive spots to see those beautiful yellow leaves. And when you add in that neat little wooden boardwalk, you've got yourself one heck of a photo op. Coming in at number 2 on the list, we have the Inyo Craters Trail. This hike is 1.6 miles long with 314 feet of elevation gain. It's easy to easy moderate, and it takes between 30 minutes to 1 hour to complete. This hike will take you to 2 craters that were formed a little bit over 670 years ago. Both of them are about 200 feet deep and have picturesque little turquoise lakes at the bottom. This trail does have a shortcut that just goes out to the craters and back, or you can take the extended version, which takes you to the backside of both craters. If you decide to do the longer trail, you are going to get a decent bit of climbing in, but in our opinion, the views are well worth it. The backside of the trail is where that easy moderate rating starts to kick in. It gets a little bit narrow and there are no shortage of tripping hazards. But this would definitely be a good one for beginners who are looking to maybe turn it up a notch. Coming in at number 3 on the list, we have Panorama Dome. This one is almost hard to consider a hike because it's only 0.7 of a mile long, but you'll be gaining 288 feet of elevation. It's rated as easy and takes between 30 to 45 minutes to complete. This trail winds its way up through uniquely curved pine trees as you huff and puff your way up towards the top. Even though this trail is short, you are going to feel like you're getting in quite a workout. And I feel like it's even tougher for people coming from lower elevations like us. But once you get to the top, you will be treated to unobstructed 360-degree views of Twin Lakes, the backside of Mammoth Lakes, Crystal Crag, the Mammoth Crest, the Long Valley Caldera, and White Mountains. We even got to enjoy the waterfall pouring into Twin Lakes at a pretty decent amount of flow. This is a cool little trail with a big payoff, and the greatest thing is that it won't take up much of your day. That makes it a huge bonus for people like us that like to pack as much as we can into our trips. Coming in at number 4 on the list, we have Rainbow Falls. This hike has 2 trailheads, but if you come from the Devil Postpile trailhead, you'll have a distance of 4.9 miles with an elevation gain of 534 feet. It has a moderate difficulty and should take about 2 hours. Adding on the extra distance to visit Devil's Postpile is well worth it. It is such a unique rock formation, and it's one of those things that you just have to see in person. If 5 miles sounds like a little bit much for you, there's no shame in that. You can always start your hike at shuttle stop number 9, and that will cut your overall distance down to 2.6 miles. If you're planning a trip in June, September, or October, please check the website for current weather and closure information. The monument may close temporarily if winter weather arrives early. While you can see Rainbow Falls from an overlook, we highly recommend taking the stairs down to the base of the falls. This might give you a better chance of seeing that rainbow colored mist coming off the falls, and it's just really pretty down here. We are now past the halfway point of the list, and coming in at number 5 is Crystal Lake. This hike is 3.2 miles long with 839 feet of elevation gain. It's rated as moderate and should take you about 2 hours. Please note that this is a very popular trail, so if you're wanting to be alone in nature, this is probably not the one for you. Along the climb to Crystal Lake, you'll get gorgeous views of Lake George and Lake Mary. And you'll also get to take in a picturesque rock formation known as Crystal Crag, which you can see right here. I'm not gonna lie, there are sections of this hike that are quite steep, and when you mix that with the elevation, it can be pretty challenging. But if you take a few breaks along the way, you should be fine. And here we are arriving at Crystal Lake, and I must say, it is absolutely gorgeous. Number 6 on our list, that is in no particular order, is the Sherwin Lakes Trail. This trail is 4.3 miles long with 885 feet of elevation gain. It's rated as moderate and should take about 3 hours. This is another trail that can get quite steep at times, but is well worth the effort. You can expect to be climbing on rocky terrain all the way up to Sherwin Lakes. If you're still feeling super fresh once you climb up to Sherwin Lakes, you can always add on Valentine Lake. Just know that this will bump your hike up to 11.5 miles with over 2,100 feet of elevation gain. It's really pretty up there, but just a little bit strenuous for this list. If at any point you experience altitude sickness on any of these trails, we have an article on our website about how to deal with it, and you can find it by clicking in the upper corner right now. At this point in the hike, we have finished the climb, and it is time now to drop down to Sherwin Lakes. This is a really pretty area, even though there were a lot of trees that were knocked over, and I'm not quite sure why. This is a really nice spot to stop and have lunch. And since it's an out and back trail, you can either head straight back to the car or continue on to Valentine Lake, which you can see right here. We're going to switch things up a little bit with number 7, which is the Horse Lake Loop Trail. This one comes in with a distance of 1.8 miles round trip and an elevation gain of 114 feet. It's rated as easy and should take about 40 minutes. Less if you're on a mountain bike. We have actually only done this trail on mountain bikes, so we don't have any hiking footage to put in right here. Not only is this a nice and easy hiking trail, but it's really fun on the bikes too. And you can link this up with the Lakes Basin Path, which will drop you all the way down to the town of Mammoth Lakes. You can see that video by clicking in the upper corner. This is one of the easiest trails on this list, and it also has the benefit of having plenty of lake access, so feel free to bring a bathing suit if you want to take a dip. But just know that water is probably going to be pretty cold. At the number 8 spot on our list, we have Emerald Lakes and Sky Meadows. If you're just hiking to Emerald Lakes, it's 1.7 miles round trip with 387 feet of elevation gain, whereas Sky Meadows is 3.6 miles with 935 feet of elevation gain. Both are rated moderate, and going all the way up to Sky Meadows should take you about 2 to 3 hours. You will have to look out for horse tours along this trail, and they kick up a ton of dust. The first stop along the way is Emerald Lake, and it's very appropriately named because it has this emerald green water. We were also lucky enough to visit on a very calm day, so it had really nice reflections of the mountains in the background. Seeing the lake is already cool enough, but if you're up for a little bit more of an adventure, we highly recommend continuing on to Sky Meadow. You will have to climb quite a bit to get there, but at least you'll get to stop by this waterfall along the way. We had one more push to get to Sky Meadows, and it was really kicking our butts, but finally we reached it. And let me tell you, this place looks straight out of a postcard. Even though it might be challenging to get up here, this is a great hike for beginners because the elevation gain is pretty gradual. As long as you take a bunch of breaks, you shouldn't have too much of a problem getting up here. We are now on to the final hike of this list, and it is Rush Creek to Horsetail Falls. This hike is 3 miles long with 839 feet of elevation gain. It's rated moderate and should take you about 3 hours. Even though this trail is about half an hour outside of Mammoth Lakes, it was so beautiful that it had to be on this list. It is located on the scenic June Lake Loop, and if you visit when this waterfall is flowing heavily, you are in for quite a treat. One thing to take note of is that this trail is completely exposed to the sun, and if you visit on a hot day, you're going to need to find ways to cool down. Along the hike, you're going to have several great photo ops with the waterfall in the background. And as you can see, we visited at that high flow time. If you are feeling ambitious, you can hike to several other lakes that feed these falls, but it was so hot on our visit, we just hiked to the falls and back. After a couple switchbacks, you'll come to a fork that will take you to an amazing overlook of the falls. And this spot was absolutely amazing. And with that, our video is coming to a close. How did we do? Do you think there are any other trails that should have been on this list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that really helps out the channel. Feel free to let us know if there's any adventures that you'd like to see us take on. And for all the information about these hikes and other awesome adventures, head on over to thatadventurelife.com.